Okay, people, fine. Girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, once again a very special good evening to everyone. Okay, myself Shabnam, and we welcome you at the Code Arc. This is day 5 of our SQL series. A very quick recap of what we learned last time. It was a discussion about the joins in SQL and then the queries that were executed as supported by PLSQL. Right, all these queries that we executed in fact on both the platforms Oracle 11G and then MySQL Workbench. Is that okay? Fine, that was one thing. The three different join mainly that we discussed during the entire session was: number one, inner join, which always displays the intersection of the two data or of the two table, let me call it out. Then comes left join, that assures you everything which is present in the table on the left side will be surely displayed in the outcome, whether its corresponding data in the right table is present or not. And then comes the right join, that's vice versa of left. The data present in the right table will always be there in the output, whether its corresponding data that suffice the condition is present in the left table or not. Okay, fine. Alright, quickly let me display to you the agenda of the class today, what we are going to learn. Here we go. Okay, this is what is pending, so let me mark it as asterisk. ये सब pending है. This is all pending topics. Okay, so before this series end, I shall cover up all the things which I have kept pending due to lack of time. Okay, so today we will be first beginning with understanding what are aggregations in PLSQL. Okay, what are the aggregation functions supported by SQL, followed by group by condition, and lastly, if time permit, we'll go to having clause. Is that okay? Understanding why having clause and how does it differ from where clause. When to use the having clause and when to use the where clause. Everybody here? Fine? Okay. Content being large and keeping time constraint in mind, let's begin. So today what I have done is my strategy of the session. A small table containing some 3 to 4 columns. I have kept it ready so that we could save time of the session. This is my table in front of you. The name of the table is an order table. So let me open the table and display the data present inside. Okay, it's always safe to use the word orders, order new, order one, as most of the backend tool consider order to be the keyword and thereby showing you an error in case if experimented with. Is that fine? So you could see order ID, it's a primary key of the table. Other than order ID, this transaction displays more detail of the order, about the order, that is product ID, PID, customer ID, that's CID, and of course the two real-time data, that is quantity and amount. Because if you would allow me to read any one transaction my way, look the way I'm reading this order number one or transaction number one, this has sold product number one. Now say product number one could be pen or pencil or eraser or whatever, assuming these are the stationery items. And this product was sold to customer number two, around 3 in quantity, that amounted rupees 30. Is that okay? Similarly, order number 2 has also sold product number 1. Order number 4 has also sold product number 1. That's it. Likewise, order number 3, 7 and 8 has sold product number 2 collectively or individually, let me say. And somewhere I could also find product number 3 sold, that is in order number 5 and order number 6. Is that fine? Everybody? Okay. Now, this time instead of selecting all the columns from the table, I repeat, instead of selecting all the columns from this table order, I select only one column. So I go like this, select, not all, just quantity from order table. Okay, so do not select all the columns, select only one column quantity from this table. You see the column is open in front of you. And if I repeat the same query with this function sum, because the data in the column quantity is all number, numeric, ये सब add हो जाएगा. Let's see that is happening or not. Fantastic. 8 quantities have been added. The sum function has summed up, totaled up, added up the 8 quantities, and the answer that is 32 is right in front of you. You want, you can cross check later. Let's trust the answer right now and go ahead. Okay, so sum is the first aggregation function that is supported by SQL. We're learning different aggregation function in SQL and executing them using PLSQL. Is that fine, everyone? Keep acknowledging in the chat section. Be responsive so that I come to know what part to be repeated and what not. Like sum, we have many more aggregation function which is supported by SQL. For example, I could have also considered average of the quantities, which is AVG. 4, because if 32 is the total, if 32 is the sum and the total number of products or the total orders were 8, of course 32 divided by 8, that's 4. That is the average. And instead of sum or average, if I would have considered count, गिनती बताएगा आपको quantity की total गिनती कितनी है. So there were total 8 rows. Hence the output displays the total quantities present in this order table is 8. Got it? Count over here displays the outcome 8, which mean the count of total quantities, people, number of quantities, not the sum of quantities, number of quantities is 8. Is that okay? Fine. Now suppose, let me open this quantity column again. And this time I run the aggregation function minimum. Okay, more than aggregation, it is suited to statistic. Okay, so the minimum of all the values that quantity column has is 2. Boys, am I right? The minimum of all the values that quantity column contains is 2. Need not to explain. Of course, understood. If I say maximum, so maximum of all the values that quantity column contains is 7. Is that okay? So the two statistical function or an aggregation function supported by SQL, minimum and maximum. Everyone? Okay? So these are the different aggregation functions supported by SQL. I am concluding this topic by stating that these are not the only aggregation functions. There are many more, but these are the most used one, often used. Yes, thank you, Rudy. Thank you for your acknowledgement. Okay, good. Now, what's my demand here? Look, when I say select star, where's that query gone? This is how the table is displayed. Now, suppose I select just 2 columns. Say, select product ID and quantity. So, these 2 columns are displayed in the output. Now, further going ahead, my demand is, look, P1, P1. P1 sold 3, P1 sold 3. I object here, if the product is same, why is this quantity shown 2 times? Rather, it should be shown and added up and shown as a one record. P1 sold total 6 in quantity. Even you agree with that? For example, in the same table, if product number 1, say the first product is pen or pencil or eraser or a mobile phone or a laptop or whatever. So if this product has been sold 100 times in an order table of total 1000 transaction, I don't wanted this 100 times the same name to keep appearing. Am I right? So this 100 products quantity should have been summed and displayed by total number of pens sold or total number of mobile phones sold is so and so. Okay, because that doesn't make sense unnecessarily increasing the number of lines in the output, records of the output. So this is also P1, this is also P1, 3 and 3 should have been total to 6. One more record P1 is coming, that is again 2. The ideal solution would have been total number of product number 1 sold is 8. Similarly, total number of product number 2 sold 7 plus 4 plus 7, whatever is the grand total. And likewise, the third expected outcome was, according to this table, third expected outcome, total number of product number 3 sold is 6. Are you understanding my point here? Right? So in that case, what do we do? I repeat the old query. People, I repeat the old query. This time I say, or repeating the old query just with quantity column and extending my query by writing group by clause. Is that okay? Extending my query by writing the group by clause. Now what this group by does, it group उसका नाम ही बताता है उसका काम. Is that okay? It generally groups the data by some column. For example, if I say group by PID, so wherever PID is found to be same, quantity will be total. Or if I write CID, that's customer ID, wherever customer ID found to be same, the quantity will be total. Now for quantity to be total, you actually need to use the aggregation function sum here. This completes the SQL query. Everyone, this completes the SQL query. That means select the sum of the quantity, not just quantity, but make sure that this sum is grouped by customer ID or product ID. Okay, any one identifier in the beginning. So PID. Okay, so wherever the PID is found to be same, you see this time there are not 8 rows in the output but only 3 rows. And if you want to know who is total 8, which product sold is total 6 in quantity, and then which product sold is total 18 in quantity, so you should have included one more column in the output, that is PID or the name of the PID. Let me say enter. Okay, so it is product number 1 which is sold total 8 in quantity. Product number 3 that is sold total 6 in quantity. And then comes product number 2 which is again sold total 18 in quantity. Somebody acknowledge please. Up until here things are clear. Okay, give me a go ahead from here please. Who's there connected here? Rudy is there. Who else? I don't remember exactly. Quick people, quick. Let's not keep waiting for the response. Quick, be responsive in the chat section. I could find the name of only one person. I don't know who are the others attending. Okay, thank you. Fine. Others also, please. Other than Rudy Panchal, other also, please. That's what a name I could read here. Is that okay? Good. Fine. So what if I wanted to group this data customer-wise? Means, those who didn't get the logic of the first query. So what if I wanted to group this data customer-wise? For example, this is my order table. Okay. If I don't want to display all the columns in the output. So I would like to go only with customer ID and quantity from orders. You raise your ability of understanding, everyone. This queries are very simple, please. Okay, Sagar, thank you for that. Thank you for introducing yourself. Okay, so I display only 2 columns in the output, that is customer ID and quantity. Now once again the same objection, by customer same है, ये भी customer number 2 है, ये भी customer number 2 है, तो quantity 2 बार क्यों बताता है? जहां कहीं पर भी कस्टमर सेम हो, मुझे क्वांटिटी टोटल करके आउटपुट में आना चाहिए. Is that okay? This kind of repetition is not bearable in the output. It doesn't look good. The report seems to be very, tricky, crazy. Customer number 2 is here, customer number 2 is here. Somewhere customer number 2 comes back, customer number 2 comes back, customer number 2 comes back. 5 बार customer number 2 आ रहा है 8 record में. हाँ तो C2, 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 C2. If customer is same, please add the total quantities and write only sum. Is that okay? So how this logic would run? ये कैसे जाएगा? Hurry up. Select the sum of quantities from the order table, but this time group by customer. Make sure that you're writing the name of the column. Group by customer. What do you mean by group by customer, group by CID? Wherever CID is same, group the quantity and add them. Okay, group by CID ka meaning is wherever CID is same, group the quantity. And group the quantity. After grouping, what aggregation function should be applied? Sum. So C2, C2, C2. Group the customer, group their quantities 2, 3, 4. And after grouping, the grouping function applied or aggregation function applied here is sum. Got it? So when I say enter, okay, the quantities have been grouped customer wise. Now if you don't know whose sum of quantity is total 7 and whose sum of quantity is total 2, so better mention the customer IDs in the output. Yeah, so this is customer number 2 who has purchased total 16 in quantity. Customer number 5 has purchased the product total 7 in quantity. Likewise, the numbers of customer number 3 and customer number 4 respectively. Is that fine, everyone? Are things getting pretty clear? See, one thing if you could see here, this column in the output is with the title CID. But this column in the output is with the title sum of quantity. What expression you wrote, the same expression is the title of the column in the output. Okay, sometimes some output has to be the final result and it has to be printed as a report. Now this does not look good in the report, people. Okay, SQL expression that comes as the output of the, or let me say the title of the column, that doesn't seems good. So you can always set some allies to it. For example, as total, or let me say total quantity. So now if you see, the output is same, with the only difference, the title of the second column is not the expression sum of quantity, but it is by the name total quantity. Is that fine, everyone? Acknowledge to me in the chat section. The last part was clear or not? And in case if you have any doubt, please write to me in the chat section. I'll come to your point. Is that okay? Alright, if this was group by with just one column, let me show you group by with more than one column. Like identifiers are more than one. For that, let me open the table again. So say select star from order. Now if you see product number 1, and again product number 1. Okay, now when I group this data product wise, P1 got added, which was 3 plus 3, 6 and 2, 8. Am I right? Clear. Thank you so much. Tell me people, product 1 and product 1. What are the respective quantities? 3, 3. That means 6. This is again product number 1, which is 2. So total 8. So output में आपको ऐसा बताया था, product number 1 sold total 8 in quantity. But now I want to group the data both product and customer wise. That means what? When you say product and customer wise, product is also same and customer is also same, then only add the quantity. I don't want solution from you. You only understand my idea and the question. Problem क्या है, मुद्दा क्या है, वो समझने की कोशिश करिए. Blindly don't add the quantities if only products are same. Product should also be same and customer should also be same to sum the quantity. Now what will happen in this case? P1 will bifurcate into two records. Like you see P1, product is same, customer C2, So in the first two rows, product same, customer same, quantity will be added. But when it goes to this row, here the product is same, P1 and again P1, but unfortunately, the customer is different. You got my point? So the product number 1 is pizza, the customer number 2 is Raj, customer number 2 is Raj. The same customer ordered pizza 2 times, maybe the dates are different. Once again in the fourth order, pizza was sold, but the customer is not Raj, the customer is somebody else, say Mukesh or Rajesh. So I want to find out total how many times I have sold pizza to Raj. Got it? I have sold pizza to Mukesh also. I have sold pizza to Rajesh also. Pizza to Pooja also. Pizza to Mr. Ahmed also. Pizza to Mr. Ram also. Got it? But exclusively I want to find out how many times I have sold pizza to Mr. Raj. So whenever product same and customer is also matching, then only the data must be added. So this time you will see this will result into two different sum. Product 1, customer 2, product 1, customer 2. This will be one group by. And this product 1 and customer number 3, this will form another group as per second group by. Got it? Right? So let's see how to do that. Select sum of quantity from the order table, group by both PID as well as customer ID. Just give comma and write the name of the identifier. Identifier here is a field name of the column people. So I say enter. You see there were total 8 rows, but aggregation has shown total 6 rows. When I aggregated just product wise, the aggregation was total only 3 rows, correct? So number of aggregation increases if the number of identifiers in group by clause increases, correct? Product ID also, customer ID also. Now I don't know who is 7 and who is 4, so better let everything come in the output. PID as well as CID along with the sum of the respective quantities. So you see, product number 1 sold to customer number 2, total 6. And then product number 1 sold to customer number 3, total 2. Similarly, product number 2 sold total to customer number 5, product number 2 sold total to customer number 2, and product number 2 sold total to customer number 4. This way, in the group by, we can give comma and write as many names of the identifier or the columns as you like. Is that fine? Somebody acknowledge, are the things clear to you? Are you understanding? Give me a go ahead signal in the chat section. That means your acknowledgement, you are understanding everything well and clear. And suppose if you're not understanding, please write to me what is your problem in the chat section. So I'll try my best to put up the solution in front of you. Okay? Take care. Shall be waiting for your response. Now something new. Say I write select okay, star from, or all the records from, all the columns from order table where quantity is more than 10. Okay, no, I don't know whether is there any row in the table where quantity is more than 10. Okay, no row selected. Okay, maybe there is no such transaction where quantity is more than 10. Yeah, the highest quantity was 7. We found it in maximum, correct? Is that fine? Quantity was nowhere more than 10, but at least I can see somewhere more than 5. So this is more than 5 and this is where the quantity is more than 5. So let's write it this way, where quantity is more than 5. So order number 3 and order number 8 got selected. Okay, I'm not interested in this output. This was only to introduce you where clause. Where clause in SQL. People, where clause in SQL is to write a condition, or it is a condition based filtering. Okay, for example, where CID is equals to C2. So only where customer number 2 is there, those records have been filtered. Or where PID is equals to P3. So only those rows where product sold is product number 3, that is been selected. Correct? This is how where clause work. But remember, where clause works only with not non-aggregated data. It's very important to understand where clause works in only non-aggregated data. Now what does that mean? What does this mean? When I said this query, it executed. Now suppose I don't want to display all the column, I just want to display quantity. So only the quantities have been displayed. But in case if I write sum of quantity, okay, fine, chaliye, not where clause. Let me write like this. Okay. So sum of quantity here from order table where amount is greater than something. I think I should. Okay. let me do this. Hold on. Let me select some proper query for you. Clearing my screen. Select sum of quantity and product ID from order table, group by product. Correct? I hope you got my point. Group by product, people. Now, even after grouping by product, I want to display only those products in the output where the sum of quantity is more than 5. अब बात समझ रहे मेरी? Product number 1 has been total and the sum of the quantity is 8. Product number 3 has been total and the sum of quantity is 6. Product number 2 has been total and the sum of quantity is found to be total 18. टोटल करने के बाद भी मुझे वही प्रोडक्ट बताने हैं जिसकी सम ऑफ क्वांटिटी 5 से ज्यादा है. Right? So I write here where something like this, a sum of quantity. You got my point? Where the sum of quantity is more than 5. You see, there is actually no problem in this command, but the only thing is problem has been created by where here. Moral of the story, इतना घुमा फिरा के अगर आपको ना बताए तो where clause can work only with non-aggregated data. Non-aggregated means what? ये aggregation है people यहाँ पे. जहाँ जहाँ aggregation और group by आ गया, you cannot use where clause. Okay? In that case, you have to make use of having clause. Are you understanding? Okay, so I think everyone is greater than 5 here. So instead of 5, let me write it as 10. Is that correct? Only product number 2 after getting summed up. Only product number 2 after getting summed up, its quantity has been displayed in the output. I hope you got my point. Is that okay? One more example. Let's take this one. Let's take this one. Select product ID, a query that I executed few moments ago, customer ID, and the sum of quantity. And the sum of quantity, people. From order table, group by both PID as well as CID. Is that okay? Now suppose I write here this way, no, but display or select only those having sum of quantity which is more than, let me call it 5. Are you understanding the difference between the two output? So product ID, customer ID and the sum of their quantities have been grouped by product and customer. But output is displaying only those which is or where the sum of the quantities is more than 5. Right? So I could see sum of quantity more than 5 here, sum of quantity more than 5 here, sum of quantity more than 5 here and here. Right? So, and the same thing if I run with where clause. No, that's problem because where cannot work with aggregated data. Is that okay? What where does, having also does the same thing. Filter the condition, or let me say filter the output based on some condition. ये condition है. Where and having both filters the output based on this condition. Got it? इस condition के basis पर वो output को filter करता है. Where works with non-aggregated data and having works with aggregated data. Right? If you could see some points that I've kept jotted here on the screen. Have a look. Having clause typically used in group by clause. Where clause works on non-aggregated data. Having clause works on the aggregated data. Aggregated data is the one which has been aggregated by group by using the aggregation functions of SQL like sum, average, count, minimum, maximum. And without group by clause, having just behaves like a where clause. Did you understand the last point? Without group by, accidentally that output came when I was trying to show you some error because there was no group by present in the query. Correct or not? It is because of this reason. If there is no group by, having will still work and it will work as a normal or ordinary where clause. Somebody say yes or no. You are understanding? Like if I don't use group by here. If I don't use group by, and I'm displaying only orders. Okay, ignore that. Fine. Wanted to show you something else, but accidentally having or without group by having exactly works like what is your where clause does. Am I right? Fine. So this is what typically a group by and having does. Make sure that where always works on a non-aggregated data, and if it is a having clause, it always works with your aggregated data. Is that fine? I think that was the agenda of our class today. We wanted to understand what are aggregations. Is that okay? Aggregations we learned using sum function, average function, minimum function, maximum function, and the count function. Okay, group by clause we learned by grouping one column or maybe more than one identifiers or more than one columns. Having clause, how does it filter the output even of the data aggregated by group by, correct? Even of the data that is aggregated by group by. I would like to extend the session today by 5 minutes more. Let's understand what is a foreign key and how to declare it, as foreign key was something which we could not complete in the constraint session that day. हम constraint session वाले दिन foreign key नहीं complete किए थे, तो आज उसको complete कर देते हैं. Let's create two table. So, okay, let me say create table. Students, if the table already is existing, I'll delete the one. Create table student with roll number as integer and a primary key. You remember I showed you in one of the session, I think day 2 it was, or day 3, I don't remember, how to auto increment the primary key. Somebody who attended and remembered. You have to write a sequence and you have to write a trigger for that, correct? To auto increment the primary key in PLSQL, you have to write a sequence and you have to write a trigger for that. But auto incrementation of primary key in MySQL was very simple. In Workbench, you just had to write the keyword auto underscore increment. Take efforts to remember the stuffs, huh, everyone? Okay, I'm constantly reading the chat section here. In case of any doubt, that's why. Chali, so roll number, which is the primary key. And let's take name, student name, S name. It's a string, varchar, say of the size 10. Okay, the table already exists. Name is already in use. So either you change the name of the table or you replace it or you drop the earlier table. So let me prefer to drop the table. Table drop. And the same table or a new table by the same name, let me create it. Let me insert some 2 to 3 rows today. So insert into student this particular values. I'm roll number 1 and I'm Raj. This guy is roll number 2 and say is Tom. And this fellow is roll number 3 and she is Elise. That's it. As a responsible developer, whether this data entry was committed or achieved or not, I say select star from student. Okay, and that satisfies me. The data is there in the table 1, 2, 3, Raj, Tom, and Elise. Okay, now suppose I'm working on a library management system where the two table at least exist in the DBMS. One is student, other is book. Okay, now when I create the book table, people, the book table is going to have 3 columns like create table book, say book ID with a primary key, book name, let's call it to be string of the size 10. Is that fine? And lastly, SID, then the name of the identifier doesn't matter. SID, that stands for student ID, again in integer. Now why do I want this third column in the table? Because I want to record every time a book is issued, the roll number of the student who is issuing the book. Okay, say book number 1, that's Java, issued by roll number 2. Book number 2, which is C++, that is issued by roll number 1. and book number 3 which is say Python and it is issued by roll number 1 again. Is that fine? So but what do I want? Look, if I end the table this way, if I end the table this way, what is the problem here? Insert into book values, book number 1, this is Java, this is issued by roll number 2. Second book is Python, or any proper title that you want to give. It's again issued by roll number 2 because it is allowed. One student can issue more than one book. Am I right? The relationship between the two table must be one to many. One student can issue more than one books. Book number 3 is say for example something on web designing. D for design. Let me keep it till here. This is issued by roll number 3, but instead of 3 I wrote 30 and the table accepted data. So when you say select star from book, the third book is issued by roll number 30, but coincidentally or unfortunately, let me say, there is no roll number 30 in the student table. Exactly, the one whose name I could read here, VIP, जिसका नाम चैट सेक्शन में दिखाई दे रहा है, SID should be a foreign key here. आप गलती कर रहे हो. Am I right? The infrastructure of this table is wrong. That third column should be a foreign key. Is that okay? I can easily alter the table above. I can easily alter the table, but first I want to show you how to declare a foreign key right during column declaration or the column definition. So let me drop the table above. Set table, drop table book. Again create the same table. Okay. Book ID. You want me to clear the screen? You want me to clear the screen? Last couple of minutes, quick. Okay, so create table book with book ID as a primary key, book name as a string or varchar, SID, people, SID, hold on. Let me go here. Oh, I'm so sorry for this. Okay. So let me do this way. Primary key, book name, which is varchar. Lastly, what was that? Okay, SID, which is an integer, but this column should be a foreign key. Now, when I say foreign key, it's a reference given to some other table. When you give a column a reference to some other table's column, that will create an integrity. Means it will ensure that data present only in the master table is entered in the foreign table. Okay, that's called as integrity, people. It's going to create an integrity check. वही रोल नंबर आप बुक टेबल में एंटर करते हो which is present in the student table. That's it. How to do that? Keyword here is references. चलिए, the keyword here to declare a foreign key is the references. Okay, table name, that is student, and its column name in the bracket. Now how to read it aloud? Student ID is an integer, the column of this table, and it is a reference given to, you're understanding my way of speaking, this column SID. It's a straight link, means it's a reference to SID column from student. Is it okay? Now this column and this table both must exist. I think the name of that column was only ID if I'm not wrong. Okay, let me keep SID. If the error comes, I'll change it. Okay, invalid identifier, no such column found. So let me create a table book. Invalid identifier, okay. Fine, so the name of that first column which was primary key is roll number here. So let me change the query accordingly. Create table book with book name and SID, a column in this table which is a foreign key to roll number column of student table. Yup, that's what. Okay, table created. Now if you say insert into book, Values. Book number 1. Let's say this is HTML or web designing, issued by roll number 2. But book number 2 is again HTML, or say HTML 1, but this is issued by roll number 30. So that's going to give you an error and not accept the data because 30, this parent key not found. That's what I told you. Integrity constraint has been violated. You're breaching it, and this key is no longer being found. Is that okay, everyone? Understood. Fine. We'll talk more about foreign keys. We'll talk more about join, something that we have missed out. These topics are remaining self-join and cross-join. I'll try to cover them up most likely tomorrow. Okay, now tomorrow when I see you back, most likely the topics would be some useful functions like top function, distinct function, bottom functions and all, the different function that is used by PLSQL. In case if you happen to complete the functions earlier, we will start writing subqueries from tomorrow. Is that okay? Fine. 3 to 4 days more the series would continue. PLSQL की सीरीज 4 दिन 3-4 दिन और चलेगी, उसके बाद में खत्म हो जाएगा. ठीक है? Any doubt from your side, or shall I bring the session to the end? If you really liked our work, people, if you're really liking what we are providing to you, please do subscribe to us, do comment, do like, do refer it and forward it to your other friends as well who are struggling to learn. Everybody here? Fine? Okay, thank you. Alright, then, if no queries from your end, shall bring the session to the end. See you back tomorrow at 5 or 5:15 again. Is that okay? Keep having a check on the time. It will be either in between 5 to 5:15. Goodbye. Take care.